right, good afternoon. My name is Scott Clark. I am the IT director for the Town of Keith Arena. I was asked to give a little presentation on virtualization, and we just are in the final stages of completing virtualization upgrade project at the town. And so I thought I'd go through a presentation to show you where we started in the virtualization world and where we are currently. And tell you about some of the things we've learned trying to cut costs and trying to do more with less and what you shouldn't do. So that's why it's virtualization on a shoestring budget, good, the bad, the ugly. So about the 2007-2008 time frame is when I was originally going to do our first virtualization project, virtualize our physical boxes. And that's when the economy tanked, and we were pulled in, all the directors were pulled into meetings and go, oh, by the way, you're not going to have your 3% increase in your budgets that you have had last year, this year before last. And by the way, we only want you to spend a maximum of 95% of your budget. And we currently told you, here's all your money to spend. So that threw me into a tailspin going, what am I going to do? We've got to have new server hardware. And I had already wanted to virtualize. We had already been testing some virtualization, VMware, NCLGISA. We even tested VirtualBox just to see, just not getting all our options together. We were also testing Zen server. I looked at the VMware pricing model, and at that point it's not as complex as it is today. So I decided to go to the Zen server route. I'm a Linux guy, so it's kind of a natural fit for me. The trade-off with, you'll see with the Zen server is a lot more, when you do it with the free version of the servers, you have to do a lot more of the advanced administration through the command line. But I was a Linux guy, so that didn't really scare me. So we originally built all of our server hosts and our storage. At that point, around 2007, the server cost for us, we could build it a little bit cheaper than we could buy, and I could get a little bit more with the same amount of money. I was not going to be able to go to the manager and say, oh, by the way, I need to do this virtualization project, and I need more money. The manager at the time didn't get IT as good as the ones we have right now. So we built it on commodity hardware, basically desktop grade, higher-end desktop, like thinking we built a gaming machine without the hardcore graphics card. We built those machines to be our host. You're probably thinking, like, why would you do that? Well, I had very little money to deal with, and I wasn't going to get any more. So we had i7 quad-core processors. We only put 12 gigs of RAM in each host. We had a SATA 2 boot drive in each host, and then we had Intel dual gigabit cards, and 1 gigabit interface was dedicated for LAN traffic or user traffic, and the other one was just dedicated for the ICS storage. And then we built open source storage servers that all they did was run ICS for the hosting and storage for the VMs. We ran OpenFiler on that, and then we ran RAID 10 arrays. RAID 10 gives you a lot more throughput than RAID 5, and gives you the benefits of the mirroring plus the strike. So we only allowed us to have 2.7 terabytes per storage server for those. And then we dedicated 1 gig for LAN traffic and 1 gig for SCSI traffic. That cost us approximately about $35,000. At the time, this met our need. That's why we built it at the current time. Our town is, we're in progressive in some aspects of our business, but when it comes to users utilizing the servers, they weren't hammering the servers like they are now. We were kind of growing up, like I like to say, but maturing our IT infrastructure. So this met our needs for about a year or two. This is what it looked like. Actually, this is what it looked like yesterday. This is the hardware that's still running. We're almost done migrating all the workloads over. I will tell you the migration is a little tricky from where we were going. So these are all the, except for the bottom row of machines there, these are all the hosts. And there's one or two storage servers that are put in there, but the server on the other side is a mess. I didn't take a picture of it. It's absolutely horrible. And those are the type of storage servers. You know, the ones on the bottom were the ones we built, custom built. They're full of hard drives, and they're running open source software, open file Linux distribution. The other ones are the ready NAS servers. They came in as a stopgap measure to help us expand storage in a cheaper environment. But the one, here's the good, the bad, and the ugly of that. I mean, the good at the point, it was fairly inexpensive, $35,000 in the grand scheme of things, which is pretty cheap. We wanted the live migration between the hosts. That was a must for me. And the easy management, the migrating machines from different hosts. If you've run the Zen server, you may do that from the Zen Center console. That was fairly easy for my staff to be able to manage. The bad problem was CPU capacity limitations. We ran into that in the first year or so. It wasn't that big of an issue. But then we got in-car cameras, and we were doing video encoding, and we were doing a lot of different things. But, you know, I knew, hey, we're going to take this workload on. I know we have an issue, but I got to wait for the money. So, and then we had RAM limitations. At the initial stages when we got Zen server, we didn't pay for the licenses. We did the free version, and they did not have the ability to oversubscribe your RAM. I wouldn't recommend oversubscribing your RAM. I mean, anyway, it can be done if you have fast enough hard drives, like flash drives and whatnot. But I wouldn't recommend it in any case. But we couldn't oversubscribe the RAM, so we had to limit. That's why there was 10 boxes. That was really why there was 10 hosts, so we could spread out the amount of. We had a lot of applications that didn't require a lot of CPU, but required a massive amount of RAM. So, and as our software matured, our financial package, which we use New World System, Logis.net, as it matured, and we were able to offload some of its RAM hog processes to the SQL servers, we were able to get a reprieve for a little bit. So that's why we maintained this for 5 years. So, but then the advanced management had to be done via command line, and that's bad. You know, people have to learn that, but I was the only Linux guy, so it all fell on me. When there's something major came up or something had to be done that wasn't in a point-and-click interface, then they had to wait on me. And then the biggest problem we had, besides the RAM limitation in the CPUs, was disk I/O. Like I said, as we started putting more and more workloads on this hardware, query time started going up. Your I/O weight started, and it just come out. Before we, like right now, I can give you a comparison. Where we're at right now, we're doing about 7 gigabytes per second transfer rate between virtual hard drives and virtual hard drives. And like if we're imaging or we're exporting a VM, this one was less than 2 gigabytes per second, and usually around the 1 gigabyte per second. That's why. I mean, and it really wasn't. If you're looking at the network card, why didn't you put 2 network cards, or why didn't you do a little better, bond or release or something? The disk I/O, the problem with the virtual hard drive I/O was really related to the state of 2 drives that were in there. They just cannot read or write fast enough. Especially by the way, none of our SQL servers were virtualized in this. They were all running at the bottom of that picture where you saw they were all the SQL servers. They had 3 SQL servers. So this was all non-SQL workloads. So we went through a IT assessment, and that was one of the major things. I said, hey, I need a person or two, and I need more money for server infrastructure and network infrastructure. So we went through a painstaking 12-month microscope of why did you make all these decisions, and they looked at it and they finally said, oh, by the way, you do need another person, and you need lots of money for servers. So we, when they said lots of money, I wasn't going to get $1 million in servers, which I wish. But so I looked at different platforms. I looked at the VMware, I looked at Hyper-V. It's just against my grain to I'm a Linux guy. I have Windows is a good operating system, but I have a lot of Linux virtual machines, and it's just against my religion to run Linux on top of Windows. That was not one of the. I joke that wasn't the. That didn't factor into this decision, but we looked at converged units where you have your CPU, RAM, and storage all in one, like scale system. We ended up selecting. We also looked at. I had an engineer come in and evaluate a Microsoft Hyper-V solution. During this IT assessment, I am transitioning to actual trying to be, the management wants me to be more of a true director and get out of the day-to-day task and stop wearing the technician hat as much as I can. So I was looking for a system that would allow me to, I have a really good capable guy that's actually my system administrator now, but you know, when you have a virtualization platform, you can spend as, I showed you how much little you can spend on a virtualization system, or you can spend hundreds, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 on a virtualization platform. And then I was looking at a Hyper-V solution, and you had your server vendor, your Dell or HP, and you had Microsoft. Then you had the engineer was recommending we go with this type of storage storage appliances. And then there was two of those, and then we wanted had a software storage virtualization software. So there's what 4 or 5 vendors there that you end up having to deal with virtualization. So I took another step and said, can we get a vendor to do all that for one? So after much of my research and then going through the sales pitch and talking with the engineers and talking with some other people, I ended up going with the scale implementation, scale server. They're basic. They're base model. You have 3 nodes, and they're all clustered together. All the storage was like one big hard drive for the servers to use. One big, the CPU is just one cluster interface, and it's like they call it a single pane of glass where you look at your servers, but it's a web interface. You don't have to have a special tool on any of the admin's machines to administer it. So we went that route. So we increased our capacity. We got dual 6-core Xeon processors in there now, 128 gigs of RAM each. We have 8 10,000 RPM SAS hard drives in these servers. And what's really, this is the real benefit for us. We have 10 gigabit LAN for LAN traffic and 10 gigabit for the storage traffic, which links all the servers together. So nothing goes over that backplane interface except the storage to mirror all the data over the servers. The way Scale does their setup is like in a RAID 10 array, you have like 6 drives, and in your pairs of drives are your failure groups. Your failure groups on Scale is a whole node, it's a server. And what we've had, in a 6-drive RAID 10 array, you can lose a drive in each 3 drives in each one of those pairs. And we've had a drive failure at the exact same time in each one of those pairs. So the next, in our old system, so the next time you had a drive failure, you lost everything on your storage array. With Scale, if you lose a drive, it automatically starts, because it's copied through multiple servers and multiple drives, it automatically starts recopying the data. So you're never, if you can lose one drive, and you're still be fault tolerant. Even if it's only a old server, it automatically has a copy of all your data, and it just reboots the virtual machines, and you're off and running. We chose to go with 4 Scale server in our cluster, and like you see, we got a total of 48 cores, 512 gigs of RAM, and we have 9.6 terabytes of usable space. Now, the one thing to draw back with any of these converged platforms is the storage is going to be at a premium. So you're going to buy a unit, a node that's going to cost $20,000. It's got all your high-end processors, your high-speed memory, and your SAS hard drive. We chose the 10,000 RPM hard drives. They have the 1.2 terabytes, 15,000 RPM hard drives, but those hard drives alone are $1,200 a pop. The ones that Dell puts in their server. The Scale servers are Dell servers that have been rebranded, but they're it's all based off of Red Hat Enterprise. So the virtualization platform is a proven virtualization platform, and you can export that out. I can export a VM and put it on a Red Hat box and fire it right up. I don't have to have a scale server to do it. So that costs about $106,000, a lot more than we spent before. And this is just for the, I like to call it the compute side of it. We chose to go this route and then put money into second tier storage that is not as fast, doesn't have to be. If we're just storing GIS files, they don't have to be as fast, blazing fast as something that running SQL. If we're just storing documents, they don't have to be that fast. Our big problem is now and where we are today is our requirements for video storage is skyrocketing, and that doesn't have to be stored on a 10 gigabit server. So we chose to go. We put this. We put a lot of money into the scale setup, and then we ended up buying 8 additional. We already had one of these 9 Synology servers, and I configured 3 of them to be in RAID 10 to provide a lot more bandwidth, and those are running NCLGISA drives that we mounted. If a machine needs additional storage that we don't want to take up on the 9.6 terabytes, we utilize these servers. And then I have the other 6 that are configured in 18 terabyte arrays. They're using the Synology's hybrid RAID, so we can expand them. I got to start throwing in new drives, and it'll expand the array. But it's basically RAID 6. And we bonded, there's 4 gigabit network cards on those, and we bonded them. So, because we're going to have multiple people, multiple users connecting to these servers. So that's how we're getting our storage. So basically, instead of putting all of our money and buying all the storage we can through scale and spending $250,000, we decided to do it a little bit. It's still on the cheaper end, but we were given, we need to invest more in our servers, but we're going to have a blank check. So that gives us about 138 terabytes of storage just with the Synologies, then plus the 9.6 terabytes on the scale servers. And we're running NCLGISA, Windows File Protocol, NFS, and Apple File Protocol off of these boxes. So we spent $48,000 there. This is actually, we spent more on storage now than we spent on the entire thing last time. And that's kind of one thing that the thing that you'll hear me talk about is the storage. This is our rack. This is our rack now. You see the 4 scale units at the top. The space in the middle, there's switches in the back. The 10 gig switches, you all know they are very, very expensive. Like if you get a Cisco 10 gig switch, you're going to pay an arm and a leg and maybe another leg. We actually, Dell just released a Dell X4012 switch. It actually has 12 10 gig ports, and you can get it for right at $1,400 or $1,200. I've seen some vendors have $1,200. They run extremely well. That's running all of our 10 gig traffic. I've got them divided up, and so we bought 2 of those for some redundancy, and then we have some ubiquity switches down, gigabit switches down there that we're doing port channel. That's how we're bonding all of our traffic to the storage servers. And that's just another view of the rack. You can get all one picture without showing the entire mess that's around that rack. So I showed the back of the rack because this shows how we got everything kind of wired up. You can't always see them because, but up here is the Dell 10 gig switches. Then we have a 10 gig back link to the ubiquities, and they're linked to the user switches that are on the other side of the room where all the phones and computers connect to. But so the one thing that I can, I think I'm probably I'm good on time. But the tips that I can give you is don't be cheap when you're looking at. If you haven't done virtualization, don't try to do it as cheap as I did. Don't skimp on your backend storage, the speed. Right now, with the cost of drives and the cost of like you people like Dell bringing those 10 gig switches in at $1,400 a pop. There's really no reason to kind of skimp on the back end storage, and especially the links to the servers. And plan for some redundancy. I'm a firm believer in backup, and if you're not sure, backup again. My guys we snapshot like crazy, we send stuff off site like crazy, we back up, but there's 4 times in my career that I have sat there many a night and spooled stuff off the backup because we've had a complete failure. So, and like I said, we'll have good disaster recovery plan. One thing I can, then I'll open up if anybody has any questions, but you have the important part of your CPU loads, what you're going to do, and then you have how much RAM you're going to consume. And if you're going to virtualize any SQL here, you're going to need to plan for that RAM consumption. Just kind of be smart about it and plan before you start having vendor know your loads, know what you're going to run on a virtualization platform before you have a vendor come in and start quoting you stuff. That way you can kind of see through the sales pitch and you can see what's going to work. This is just one way of doing it. You have the VMware route, you have the Microsoft Hyper-V route. They're both great products. I didn't choose the VMware route because I didn't care to have to manage the licensing for it. And that was really that, and then I still had the multiple vendor storage and everything. I did look at VMware's hosted platform. They actually it looks like they have a pretty nice offering. They integrates with, if you have VMware in-house, you can utilize their cloud service, or even VMware, you can buy capacity from them, and it integrates with it. Because I didn't know where the assessment was going to go at one point. I didn't know if they were going to say, okay, IT, we're going to outsource everything. Luckily, they decided to invest more money. The board and the managers said, no, we've already invested, we're going to invest in it. So this is where we were, and a lot of people, when I tell them this, they kind of look at me kind of crazy, so you took all that on yourself, but I really had no choice at that point. Our managers and the board didn't get IT, the importance of IT like they do now. Hopefully, in about a year, we can say we're running on this platform and had no major issues we've had done so far. And it's been blazingly fast compared to what we're looking at getting things done. A while we're going to boot up a VM, and we're used to have to wait for to see the little scroll bar to go across, and we look over and it's booted up. So hopefully the speed will continue. And does anybody have any questions? I talk really fast, but.
How many year warranty do you give your servers?
I actually ended up going ahead and rolling in a 5-year warranty. What we're doing is we're doing a 3-year warranty on desktops now. But by the way, before we were building desktops to save money. But now the problem is that we were the warranty. So we're doing 3-year warranty on desktops, 4-year replacement. But for servers, we have a full 5-year warranty, and we'll replace them at the end of the 5-year warranty.
Zen server, 6.2, 6.5?
They were 6. We started at like 5, and then we're at 6. I want to say 6.2. So, great improvement, but we were ready to get off the platform. And Citrix, they're kind of iffy with the information coming out with the future the Zen server product. I heard one Citrix person say that the Zen app runs better on Microsoft Hyper-V. They didn't say it ran. You can run Zen app on Zen server, but they said it ran better on Microsoft Hyper-V. So
it works because we use that completely off the It's all Citrix and stuff.
Yeah. So I was a little uneasy about what the future, what if they're going to keep doing Zen server, which I don't think they can. I don't know.
Kind of pulled the plug on EDI with 2017 support, so Citrix desktop support. Get rid of that. So.
We'll have to wait and see what's going to happen in the future. Like, one thing I learned from this conference was in 5 years, everything's going to change.
Yeah.
But one thing I like about Zen server, it's free to get it out there. I have a mobile demo unit. I took a PC with 8 gigs of memory. I installed the free software on there. I have 2 servers and a Windows 7 machine running on that box. And then what I'd like to do, if I ever have to upgrade the software, is shut it down, export it out, spin it back up, do the upgrade, it crashes, no problem. I delete it, restore it back. It is so good and so easy to do.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna run Zen in a lower, we'll take some of the older hardware, we'll buy some, other better hardware, and run it in a test and development environment. But
It's really good.
yeah, right now we have some of the test servers we're doing are for our financial package, and they require to have a decent amount of bandwidth, especially if we're running some recording. So we have to put them in there, just have different virtual machines. I won't do anything now except virtualization. So there's a lot of people that still have physical boxes out there, but we virtualize everything. If they can't be running on our virtualization platform, we just don't do it. So,
We have 10 hosts running Zen server, and we do have additional licensing for a platinum licensed company, whatever, not government. And we have high availability. So if one of our hosts reboots during that, we don't worry about it. Those servers reboot on other servers. And technically, with the 10 running, we could lose 3 of the hosts, and we're still okay.
yeah. And we just didn't, I couldn't really say, hey, I need, $1,000 per server a year
Right.
to do, I need $10,000 a year to do the high availability when, we're going through some of the issues we're going through, but also I don't want to say, hey, let's spend money on this infrastructure, this hardware. This hardware was aging out, so I don't like to run things, and also it wasn't built out of server grade hardware. So it ran fairly well up to this point. We've only had band failures from one hard drive failure, and so but I would say, but you're probably running yours on like server grade hardware, right?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
But one of the problems is, I like telling the story about Bill Gates. Remember him when he first started out with IBM, and they thought the money was all in the hardware, and he was in the software? Well, I've learned out now that the vendors of hardware have come onto this. Good example, with Zen Server, our system is running actually on 5.5 right now. And we want to go to like 6.2 or 6.5, but guess what won't run it? Our hardware. We actually took it and got it to a 6.02, 6.0.2, got it past the hardware compatibility list. So you said, great, we'll put it on the HCL site. HP found out about it, found they had to remove it. They did not approve it. One of the problems you're going to find out with software and hardware, every 5 years things are going to be upgraded. You find between hardware and software, they're not talking to each other, but they both want their money. Because these servers have built really good in the last 10, 15 years, but people won't upgrade. They want you to.
Yeah.
That's what we're right now. We're spending $800,000 this spring replacing 2 EMC SANs and all our hardware for our hosts. Because we got to upgrade because it's becoming end of life and end of support.
Yeah.
It's starting to impact us.
Here's the thing about going to blade environment. I see your servers 3, and I was looking, I said, the blade environment would be perfect for that. You don't have to connect the cables to the back. You're done.
Yeah.
And you would have to not recable it, buy the 10 switches and all that. It's
Yeah.
all in the enclosure.
We looked at that ourselves even, but the only problem we worry about that single point of failure.
If that plane is,
Or even if you have dual planes in there, it just, you have to lose that box.
We run enclosures, HP and Dell enclosures. I have never lost a backplane, and then I have them clustered together. So if I did lose, I have a cluster VM between. When that went out, like I said, HA would go down to the other enclosure. But it saves on the cabling, saves on the power, saves on everything. I mean, you only connect it one time, which is blade 10 by. You don't have to worry about it.
That was the one thing I was concerned about, the backplane failures.
Yeah, Dell has a 4U one that takes 4 blades.
That's
But looking at that, it's like, wow, that's a lot of cable.
Well, we actually, there's some cable in there I planned on, I bought a little bit longer, a 10 gig cable that I needed, and I was like, well, it was much money we spent on this, we're going to use it. So,
Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about the blade.
Now, you may want to think of fiber between your host and your storage arrays. That's where most of your traffic handles, like for SQL, things like
yeah,
that.
actually, all the SQL right now is running in the scale environment, so it's 10 gigabits. So, and all the IO required stuff, like just like video storage, just going to sit there, and you may need it, and it's streaming out.
Right.
Like, that's what's on the Synologies. And some of those are ASCII where we need a little bit more I/O, but a lot of it's just, NAS. So, and some of the, a couple of those racks are backups for images and stuff, or for machine images and stuff. But, anybody else have any questions? Well, I know we didn't use it to start with, and I just, I guess the Linux guy and me went one over. So,
And it's okay. The reason I'm asking that is because I set mine up on the feed with some server 2012, which is a little bit different version from what they had before.
yeah, it's a lot nicer.
And I don't have to deal with probably the throughput that you're having to deal with. But I managed to get out of 2 or 3 Dell servers running about $5,000 each. The operating system, because we bought the server, the operating system, just got a license, it's cheaper. And it's smart. For what I'm using for, it's
Yeah. And one thing that I didn't mention that we haven't set up yet is we're going to have and we use Hyper-V and everything. But all I got to do is I don't have to buy the larger, we bought the higher end scale cluster. It's the entry part to the higher end. Basically, the only difference is hard drive capacity. You can get different processors and a little bit different memory. But we can buy the lower end or the middle tier, even the lower end scale cluster and have an automatic failover at the R site. So we are planning on doing that later. I gotta work that into the budget. But I chose this. I mean, I'm a Linux guy, so that's one of the reasons. And also, Scale is one of the vendors that I looked at and researched that allowed me to kind of have one vendor for that whole cluster. I mean, of course, we got Microsoft or whatever vendor, software we're running onto the VM, but for the actual hardware, I've actually transitioned out of the role to that. So I have.
well, and the reason I'm asking you that is because kind of like in your shoes, you're talking about you had a very limited budget. I'm right there.
Yeah.
And I want to know what thing that's missing that I should have thought.
Yeah. I mean, and I would have to say, I mean, I really don't want to sound like a salesperson for Scale, but we've had a couple of issues with migration, and their support has been a heck of a lot better than I've had with a lot of.
Well, that's the thing, and I don't think I have really have support unless I don't think Microsoft or the NCLGISA.
Yeah, and the maintenance, I mean, and we've even told them, say, they'll ship you a hard drive overnight, and you have a hard drive there. Of course, it does the rewriting and everything, and gets you back to being fault tolerant, having some redundancy there. But I want the hard drive on site. They work that into the contract. So and like I said, I have Power Bureau full replacement warranty. Now I can tell you the only thing about these servers that I don't like is the 10 gig cards run very, very, very hot. So and when we did the reorganization, I moved back to my original spot, which my original office was right next to the server room. It's very loud in the office now because those fans are screaming because to cool off those cards. So you have to invest in some sound deadening or something. So, yeah. Yeah, well, money.
Or earplugs.
Yeah, well, I do have some Bluetooth headphones I just put on around here, but people hear it on the, what's that screaming sound on the phone? So I don't. But anyway, I just wanted to give you a little insight to, I guess, how not to do virtualization. And then, I mean, it worked for us for now, but I wouldn't recommend anybody going that route, especially in this day and age where the hardware costs, I mean, yeah, we're looking $100,000, but I still, for what you're getting done, how many servers are running this, we got 32 VMs right now running on our SQL boxes, it's worth it.
Well, figure on those individual servers, if they're on separate boxes, how much would it cost you to replace them?
Oh, yeah.
That's what we looked at. We had
Oh, yeah.
all that cost. We saved money by just buying 10 versus 60.
Yeah.
The 128 gig, that's good amount of memory. You know, a lot of servers down there.
And we can always upgrade the memory to 256 per server. And we'll have to void for it, we just get it from them, pop it in. And we can upgrade it without bringing anything down, we just move everything off.
How much did you say that was? How much was the Scale product?
The one we got was just the HC4100, it's the they have 3 different tiers. Ours was like 106, and that's that's the servers plus the additional, of course, they give you the first year warranty. And then I worked it in, so they gave us the second year. And if you're good enough, and then.
So that was the servers plus storage?
No, it's the whole thing, the whole cost, I didn't put the switches and everything. We had a $175,000 budget, we came in at $162,000.
Yeah.
So, and that's with storage and everything. All the hard drives, everything.
So I know you said that was kind of, well, that seems like you're paying a lot of money for a single. And I'm with the gentleman up here who said about the dual blade enclosure. I mean, we've been running blade enclosure for 10 years, and I recently just bought an FX2, which is the new blade enclosure you're talking about. It's actually a 2U. So you can put 2 blades in or 4 blades in. Now we have a SAN that we connect to, but you can put storage on board. And you can put I/O aggregators in the back of it where you don't have to have all that cabling.
Yeah.
And it can handle way more capacity than what you just said there, and it's probably half the price. Now you don't get the single support from your virtualization vendor, but it just seems like the price is a little higher. I guess I'm missing something also. The
But
big thing
also-
about Hyper-V too, for anybody else in the room, who if you get a large environment, Hyper-V starts getting a little more costly, and you have to start buying SCCM and things like that to manage it. But if you're a school system or something of that nature, you get such a big discount from Microsoft. You should always look at Hyper-V first. I don't run Hyper-V, but
Yeah, the one thing.
yeah, we run VMware, but I also support the school system. And in the school system, we look at Hyper-V, and we're probably going to migrate because you can get whatever they split it up now, but whatever the enterprise version of Windows is, or the data center version of Windows is now, school systems get it fairly cheap, a few $100s. It's not, they pay almost nothing, and you get unlimited. I think you get unlimited Windows licenses, which is the big issue with running virtual machines on any platform, is you have to pay for the Windows license.
Yeah, the one thing that, I'll tell you how much it is per node and, how much it was. You're also paying for software too. You're paying for the stuff that you add, like the VMware, and you add it with everybody else, and you add it in separate instances. But this is all rolled into one, so you're paying for it. And
That's true. It's probably about the same with the software on
I
top of
looked at
it.
it, and it was
Yeah, it's probably about the same.
it was very, very close. And I just I guess that's when the Linux got me. He said, winner, Red Hat Enterprise. And next time we do this, we may be another scale customer. We're going to do this. Like you said, in 5 years, everything's going to be changed. It's going to be completely different. So.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out what the advantage of that is, because it seems to me that you're kind of pigeonholing yourself by the limiting factor of the memory and stuff that you can put in there. I mean, I can put 256 gigs, 512 gigs of RAM in a single host. Not that I'll have the need to do that.
You can do these too. It's just
It's
the 256 went up. I went with 128 gig because with the higher speed RAM, it comes at a premium for cost. So that's what we just, and for what I overbuilt it a little bit.
Yeah.
I didn't have the ability and the funds to overbuild it too much. Because at some point, in 5 years, I want to be able to upgrade the hardware. So, but yeah, you can add additional more storage to it. I guess the only drawback I would say, if you want a lot of storage in the service itself, and you don't want to have to run an extra storage array of some sort, a SAN or whatever, that scale might be a little bit costly. Once you start adding those 15,000 RPM hard drives, and you start adding more, and they have nodes where instead of it being all the processor and memory and hard drive, they have what they call storage nodes. But still, you're paying for each one of those hard drives. Retails for $1,200. The 15,000 RPM SAS drives, the 1.2 terabytes. So you're paying for that, and it was still too costly for us. So that's why we chose to go this route. My big thing is I needed more storage that wasn't so fast. Second tier storage. I need more of that than I needed anywhere else. So that's kind of the reason we did this for right now. And then we may not do that next time. But so far it's ran good for us. Anybody else have any questions? So I guess we'll be rolling for the door prizes.
Thank you.